What and when AI should be replacing out your current software. AI is kind of that hot little trend right now. Everybody's like, oh, you should do AI or implement AI, but it's kind of like you should do marketing or do sales. Like, what does that even mean? And where do you start? Given that you're already busy. You're already a busy business owner who probably doesn't have a ton of time to be able to integrate these new things. And it's difficult to be able to delegate it out to your team because it's like, well, what do you tell them to do? So what I want to talk to you today is what's worked for me personally as a seven-figure business owner and what I've seen work for my clients as well, as far as how do you get down this path of integrating AI into your business? Because there is one thing we know for certain, and that is AI enhanced and driven businesses are going to take the majority of the cake going forward. But we also need to balance that with you got to keep the ship afloat as you're trying to integrate these new things. So how do you do that in a way that doesn't overwhelm you and overwhelm your team so you get the most amount of value? First and foremost, you've got to start using it if you're not already using AI. Now, what does that mean? For me, I start with ChatGPT. There are a lot of other programs out there. We've got Claude, we got Gemini, we got Notebook, and there are more coming out every single day. However, if you're new to AI, getting used to working with ChatGPT is kind of a good foundation to be able to move into some of those other models. It also gives you something to compare to. What I like to do is I usually will start with ChatGPT and then also put the same prompt into Gemini, Claude, sometimes a couple others too. Those are my personal favorites. And then you can kind of get that skill of kind of like knowing which tool gets you the best result. Really, as a business owner, the number one thing is you need to build up your skill to become AI enhanced. For me, using AI over the course of the last 3 years or so has made me a better leader. It's made me more direct. It's made me more effective with both my growing my business and also with my team. But that doesn't happen overnight. It's like lifting weights. I was on a podcast yesterday with Michael Mitchell from Membarium, and he used that analogy of like it's like lifting weights. And working with AI, you got to put the reps in to understand how do you utilize it. By doing this, you're going to make more space and time for yourself, but you're also going to be able to help coach your team into being more AI enhanced, which means that their hourly rate, whatever you pay them, they are going to be able to do more with less. And that's really the magic of AI is you are going to be able to do more with less. So you've got to start there of start using ChatGPT. Some of my favorite ways is to sometimes I'm just like trying to wrap my head around something or organize my thoughts. I love the voice note where I can just kind of do the transcription and then be like, analyze this, reflect back any blind spots that I might have, and then just reflect it back to me. It becomes a thinking partner. As a CEO, it is amazing as a thinking partner. I think people underutilize it and they just use it for task-based work. But as a CEO, it's sometimes hard for your team to really be able to think with you on that same level. And like your other friends and your business colleagues, like they got their own businesses going on. So they don't necessarily have the time to sit with you. So AI can become your thinking and strategic partner. And there's a great list of prompts that I like to use just to help get more to the root of what I'm actually trying to get to. So I think you need to start there with becoming AI enhanced yourself. Now, from that point, we want to look at it from three different levels. One, a marketing and sales level, two, a customer delivery level, and then a team enhancement level as well. So money is the lifeblood that drives our businesses. Marketing and sales. How can AI help you with marketing and sales? One, just how you're putting out content. So with this, let's take the example for this particular video. I did not produce much content before AI came out. Now, in about half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, an hour, I'm producing blog posts. I'm redoing those on LinkedIn. I'm also making like little 30-second snippets of it and putting it onto all of the social networks, including YouTube shorts as well. It's crafting up the descriptions for me, the titles that are based on best practices for social to be able to get the most amount of reach. I'm in early stages of my own content life, honestly, and it is just kind of like how I need to be putting out that content to see what works and what doesn't. And eventually, over time, with putting out good content, you do more of what is getting a reaction and you do less of what's not getting a reaction or getting you the result that you want. Now, there's a couple good tools that I use for that. One, ChatGPT. I do use Claude a little bit too because I've been messing around with and testing, like, can it produce a better quality of writing? Want to be really aware that you're telling it, hey, keep your tone and intonation. The death of a business is just becoming like it is becoming the white bread. And one of the challenges with AI is that when you put it into AI, it becomes AI talk. So you've got to be really clear and just make sure that you're not losing that thing that makes you and your business you, because otherwise you fall into that haze. And with AI, we're going to see more of that. We're going to see more content, more businesses, but a lot of them are just going to be very surface level and not really be saying anything. So as a business owner, as a CEO, your number one job is to make sure that you actually stand out and you actually stand for something. So using ChatGPT, I'll create it into a blog post first. From that blog post version, I'll create a LinkedIn article version as well, going through some different titles. I use Canva to be able to create the images for it. It's not automated yet. My next level is I would like to automate that process too. We're not quite there yet as just far as our own systems go. And then it will also create the post that goes on LinkedIn to share it with my feed. Sometimes I'll post on Facebook. I'm a little hesitant of posting too much content on Facebook. Facebook to me is a much more one-to-one personal connection. And I get turned off personally when people post too much like just like content, business content. Like it should be more personal stuff. I share a lot of like my own personal journey more so on Facebook than I do on other things like LinkedIn. I do post to Instagram. Honestly, I don't think any of my customers are Instagram. I like Instagram personally, but I'll make a carousel post from it too of like what are the main learnings, and it'll generate those as well. It's a little bit time consuming for that because I haven't developed a way to be able to take what that information is and just put them right on the carousels. So it's really only if I have a little extra time that I'll do that one. And I don't think there's much of a result right now of us posting on Instagram. My number one priority is content on my site. Secondary priority is then LinkedIn and LinkedIn articles, and then YouTube. YouTube is number one. Video on YouTube, which then trickles down into blog content, LinkedIn, and then sometimes I'll do the other ones just depending on time. And so that's on like a marketing side. The other point to it is just have ChatGPT analyze your marketing and your sales stuff based on the marketers that you like. My favorite right now is I like to go through it with Dan Kennedy, old school guy, but like, man, there's a reason why it's so well followed, or Alex Hermosi sometimes too, or as my ideal client, I'll ask it to go through and just really refining out my messaging and my sales process as well. We do direct sales calls with clients. So I will have a chat open for that specific client. So from the very start, I will take any emails they send me and any transcripts from calls that we do and put it into a chat GPT that's specifically on them. Um, I am working right now. I think Gemini is going to be a much better thing to do with this going forward because it integrates a lot cleaner into Google Docs. I just haven't developed the system to be able to do that quite yet. So I have their specific sales functionality there. It then spits out like what are the things that most matter to them based on the conversation. And then I have a sales coach, ChatGPT, as well, that is trained in like the people I admire as far as I think these people really understand sales, analyze my sales call, let me know what I've done well, and then what I can improve. And this again comes back to my first point of become AI enhanced. Like AI is your best coach. And it's really easy not to take it personally. Like I've worked with coaches before, and sometimes I'm like, you just don't know. But with AI, it's like it's totally unbiased. So when it says, hey, you could have tightened up that close, or you could have tightened up this, you're able to kind of separate the emotion from it a little bit more than you would otherwise. So I have it go through, analyze my sales calls, let me know what I could have done better. And then so I'm just like constantly improving my sales tactics and how I'm like hearing them too. For me, it's really important that we are only working with people that are a good fit for us, that want to work with us, don't just want anybody. So I put a little bit more of prompting into that too. On the delivery side of the actual services, we specialize in membership sites. So a lot of the delivery side that we're working with right now, and just to go back on the sales side, we are doing custom GPTs. there's a difference between a generative AI and a chatbot. We like generative AIs on the front end for sales to talk people through that sales process. That is something we're implementing for clients right now. Instead of a chatbot is you chat in and it's like, do you want help with your subscription? Do you want help with this? Do you want help with this? And you have to choose an option. And there's a place for that. I don't love it when it's an open-ended conversation, especially in like the beginning of a sales process. I prefer a generative AI where you can just go and type in word garble and it should come up with a response based on that. Sorry, went back to the sales stuff. On the delivery side, for specifically for membership sites, there's two tools that we're actively implementing right now, which I'm really excited about. One of them is the clone yourself functionality. So on the site, your members can log in and like chat with your clone. We've been testing of whether it makes sense to just include that in existing programs or have it as an upsell. Right now, the process that we have is we're including it as a bonus right now for existing programs, but then it will be a paid service. As you refine out and really get the value there where people love it, then you give them some sort of offer that they can upgrade into it. The next version is an integrated version of ChatGPT that actually lives on your site where you can have pre-done prompts and onboarding based on AI. So for instance, one of the examples is helping people guide people through their goal setting, maybe when they enter into a weight loss program or something of, okay, so what's going on? It can probe a little bit deeper on that too. Typeform, you can kind of do this. I don't know if they've integrated AI into it very much, but even years ago, they were doing that very cool video ask functionality, which was awesome. So I like those two options for when people are coming in. The next layer of that is giving them a custom experience when they come in. So they'd be able to just like brain download on what they want, what they're looking to get out of your program, and it would serve up content based on that. We're not quite there yet as far as the technology and tools to support that, but I'd say we're probably going to be in the next year or so. On that next level, on the support side, first and foremost, support docs AI. You can use the same generative AI that does for your sales as you do for your support. It becomes just a massive knowledge of your whole business and how to serve your customers. The other portion is training your team to become AI enhanced too, getting them comfortable with AI, getting them used to using that as a thinking partner, having them go to maybe even your clone before they come to you to save you time, and have them go in and have it refine out their thoughts or what they're doing so that it can make them more AI enhanced. I think that's probably the biggest opportunity right now is really getting your team to be comfortable with AI. Your team is not going to be as, just generally speaking, from what I've seen, they're not going to be at the forefront of really trying to integrate this. You will have exceptions to that rule, but you'll probably have to push them and really probe in and say, okay, hey, what are you doing right now? How can we integrate AI with this? How can we make this a little bit better? And then, hold them accountable to that, but also reward it too. You want the carrot and the stick at any given time of, you want to reward, ideally you want to focus on a reward, but you also want to push them a little bit more in that direction because, people don't always want to grow and expand, but as a business owner, you want them to grow and expand. So you got to push a little bit more. So that is kind of like where my head is at and what I've seen working both for myself and then also for customers. For me, working with AI just in enhancing my own work and workflow using AI over the last 3 years or so, I work less and I achieve more and I have a higher quality of life. But there's a danger to this, as there is with anything that you fall into the illusion of progress. I had a client that spent $8,000 and I was like, maybe we need to have a check-in next time you're going to kind of spend that kind of cash on something on what is essentially a chatbot. And I was like, I can do better than what you did on that chatbot with $100 a month subscription and less time and effort than it took for that 8K. So just really, you want to be weighing it of what are you putting into it as for, and this is not just for AI, this is any software or anything you're going to do. But I think that we are really losing sight of the input versus output with AI, where I see people just spending way too much money and way too much time on things that they probably shouldn't be. So it's like when I'm weighing whether I want to use AI or a team member, honestly, is hey, how much time and effort is it going to take me to get this thing to produce the result I want? Am I going to want to achieve this result over and over again? And if it takes a lot of time and effort, but then you're going to be using that over and over again, worth it. If it takes a lot of time and effort and you're only going to use it one time, just do it yourself. Don't use AI, don't delegate it to a team member, just do it yourself. That's the illusion of progress. What you're putting into it is not giving you equal or greater value. I want a 10x on anything I'm putting in. And it can be over the long term. So that's why it's worth investing in team and investing in systems. It's not like you get a 10x return right away, but over time you do get a 10x return. So when I set up a new flow for new customers coming in, yes, it'll take me maybe a couple of hours, maybe a week or whatever, but then that is something that is a stable foundation for my business for years to come that I can just continue to optimize. So you want to give that same sort of mindset around AI because like I just feel like people are very much caught in the shiny objectness of AI right now, but you really want to ground down into what is this actually going to do for me and my business and ask those hard questions because there's a reason why the 80/20 rule is so prolific is because we don't often step back and say, "Hey, is this actually worth it?" So I hope it's been helpful. If you have thoughts on how you're using AI, please feel free to comment below. I love jamming on this stuff. Nothing makes me happier than figuring out how to do more with less.